President Bola Tinubu has called on African leaders to take decisive steps in addressing the exodus of skilled professionals from the continent by enhancing performance incentives and fostering development. In his honor at the Palace in Malubo, Equatorial Guinea, following his 3-day official visit to the country, President Tinubu emphasized the need for Africa to prioritize research, development, ensuring that efforts are rewarded appropriately. The Nigerian president also highlighted the critical need for Africa to look inward for solutions to its challenges, stressing the need for African nations to harness their resources and focus on research and development, ensuring that the outcomes are utilized within the continent rather than outsourced.
It's not pleasant for our today.
Of the results from research conducted on the continent. He focus on development across the continent.
And promising for our tomorrow. We have to work together to make peace the focus of our development in order to really develop. Without peace, we cannot develop. Our problem is not that we don't understand what to do. We identify them, we understand what to do. Our problem is how and when we should do them. And I say the time is now. We better roll our sleeves, get on our knickers, and move for peace, stability, and progress. While we complain about healthcare problem, if our doctors cannot have a home in their continent, if our nurses have failed.
In a significant development, President Bola Tinubu of Equatorial Guinea pipeline project, further affirming the partnership for mutual development. The agreement, signed during President Tinubu's 3 covered the legislative and regulatory framework of the gas pipeline and general principles. President Bola Tinubu says the signing of the agreement will open up new opportunities for gas exploration and employment. Beyond the signing, the two leaders held discussions on critical issues on security, the African Continental Free Trade Area, and food security. Tinubu also made a case for development of Africa, calling on the continent's leaders to come together and seek solutions to their problems. Meanwhile, President Mbasogo lauded the long-standing relationship between Equatorial Guinea and Nigeria, stressing the need to deepen cooperation, emphasizing the importance of Africa securing a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council, a goal Equatorial Guinea is committed to achieving alongside Nigeria.
Our problem is not that we don't understand what to do. We identify them, we understand what to do. Our problem is how and when we should do them. And I say the time is now. We better roll our sleeves, get on our knickers and move for peace, stability, and progress. Why we complain about healthcare problem if our doctors cannot have a home in their continent? If our nurses are faced with destitution, if our judicial system is archaic, if tribes is the hero in the middle of nothing, tribalism has no place in Africa. We have to take the continent and take it strongly. And both together help one another, develop our resources for our progress.
La cooperación nuestra se alcanza en todos los dominios. Muchos estudiantes de Guinea Ecuatorial se han formado en Nigeria. Muchos hermanos nigerianos también están trabajando en Guinea Ecuatorial de una manera armoniosa y pacífica sin ningún tipo de problema. Creemos que con este nivel de relación estamos en las mejores condiciones. Y deseo a mi hermano que disfrute de la hospitalidad de Guinea Ecuatorial. Hemos abordado temas importantes que conciernen al continente africano. África ya tiene que encontrar su lugar en el contexto internacional, porque África no puede seguir bajo el dominio de otras naciones. Hemos alcanzado niveles que ya podemos sentirnos países completamente libres e independientes. Tenemos que aprovechar la coyuntura internacional para que África tenga niveles que no tenga para qué acudirse a los otros. A nivel de la política internacional, hemos abordado el tema judicial.
The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has emphasized that Nigeria's recent visit to Guinea, led by President Bola Tinubu, has yielded significant achievements, particularly in the areas of economic development, migration, and security. The minister highlighted the landmark gas agreement, which is expected to enhance economic ties between the two countries. He also noted that and trade agreements were key components of the visit, reflecting President Tinubu's commitment to fostering stronger ties across Africa. Tunji-Ojo emphasized President Tinubu's role as a pivotal figure in stating that the president has given clear directives to ensure that Nigeria's visa policies are aligned with the broader interest of the a defense agreement with Equatorial Guinea is still under review. The administration is taking a cautious approach on internal security, noting that the agreement will undergo rigorous scrutiny by the Attorney General's office to ensure it aligns with both national and international laws, as well as the best interests of Nigeria. The minister, however, reiterated that President Tinubu's careful and prudent approach to decision-making ensures that all agreements and policies are thoroughly vetted to protect Nigeria's interests, adding that the visit to Equatorial Guinea has been productive and will pave the way for further cooperation between the two nations.
It's been a wonderful one. I will not say what I have achieved, I'll say what Nigeria has achieved, because that's what Mr. President always speaks about. He always talks about Nigeria, Nigeria, Nigeria. And the gas agreement, I'm sure the Minister of Petroleum State for Gas will be in a position to say more on that, but that's a landmark one. And of course, the discussions between the presidents, which is very key to economic development, very key to migration, very key, which of course has to do with the issue of visa policies and issue of trade understandings and a lot. So I think it's a good one. It's been a very productive, a very resourceful one, and I believe that it's a good one for both countries. Yeah, that is going on. The president is as the president of the biggest African nation, the largest black nation on earth. So the president is a rallying point. He's a center. He's a fulcrum. He holds a pivotal position in resolving this to ensure that there is a more robust and, of course, easier movement, from between countries, and of course economic interactions between countries. And the president is already working on that. As Minister of Interior, he has given me a marching order to be able to look at that, in line with the act of reciprocity and coming to the table to be able to solve that. And I think with the trip to Equatorial Guinea, we've spoken about an agreement that has to be on that. That has to do with that. That's Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea, and hopefully we're looking forward to around November, to be able to sort that out. We need to look at the agreement. We need to look at the I's. We need to dot the I's, cross the T's.
Minister of Youth Development, Jamila Bio Ibrahim, has highlighted the objectives and achievements of her recent visit to Equatorial Guinea, where she accompanied President Bola Tinubu, saying the primary focus of the trip was to explore and enhance opportunities for youth development in partnership with Equatorial Guinea. Speaking to newsmen in an interview session, the minister says both nations are on the verge of finalizing a significant treaty on youth empowerment, set to be officially confirmed at the upcoming Joint Commission later this year. She noted that the proposed agreement is expected to promote collaboration in areas such as skills development, entrepreneurship, and peer learning among the youth of both countries. Additionally, the youth minister stated that one of the key elements of the treaty is the potential adoption of Nigeria's National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) model in Equatorial Guinea, stressing that the partnership also aims to utilize Nigeria's large youth population to support various sectors in Equatorial Guinea, including agroforestry, fashion, and the garment industry. Minister Bio Ibrahim, however, expressed optimism that this collaboration will be mutually beneficial, harnessing the potential of young people in both countries to drive economic development across Africa.
The National Youth Service Corps, the NYSC, they're considering collaboration, seeing how we can actually engage in peer learning to see that for the possibility of actually adopting that initiative, and areas of skills development and transfer as well. And of course we want to see, even though Equatorial Guinea is not a country as populous as Nigeria, we want to also see how we can support the, we can collaborate by channeling some of our youth population to be producing commodities for Equatorial Guinea across various sectors. And then you are aware that through the Presidential Initiative on Youth Enterprise Clusters, we're working to ensure that we develop our furniture value chain through agroforestry, and of course the fashion and garment sector as well, and other cash crop sectors as well. And this is a very viable economy for that kind of collaboration.
Vice President Kashim Shettima says the recent Supreme Court judgment granting full financial autonomy to local government council will enhance Nigeria's universal basic education system. The Vice President, who warned against the abuse of local government autonomy, stated that at the public presentation of a book titled Navigating the Politics of Universal Education Policies in Nigeria, written by former Deputy Governor of Ekiti State, Modupe Adelabu, held in Abuja. The Vice President says the autonomy of local government, which are directly responsible for providing primary education, will address the financial limitations that have hindered the alignment of administrative units with the government's educational agenda. Shettima also assured Nigerians that the ongoing reforms initiated by President Bola Tinubu will address inadequacies and ideologies frustrating universal education in the country.
Of autonomy of local governments, which are responsible for delivering primary education, has created significant financial hindrances in aligning administrative units with our educational agenda. However, the recent Supreme Court judgment empowering local government councils to control their resources brings government closer to the people. It provides new hope for our educational initiatives. And as a governor, as a former governor, I will join in gloating and insulting the governors that have been castrated from having access to local government funds. Apart from it, we need to align with the governors and see that the educational needs of our children are catered for. The local government autonomy should not be abused. It should be used as a fulcrum. It's a window, it's an avenue for addressing needs at the grassroots level. And without the partnership between the federal government, the state government, and the local government, very little can be accomplished. Just 15-20 years ago, local governments were not paying the salaries of primary school teachers and even health workers. So we have to put a mechanism in place to safeguard the interests of our poor workers in the local government system. Beyond making education universally free, our experience shows that incentivizing is the most practical gateway before us. This is why all of us, across all levels and branches of government, must join this campaign to educate the nation. The realities we inherited demand urgent action to ensure that education is not only accessible, but also desirable for every Nigerian child, fostering long-term national development. Many primary and secondary school-aged children are still not attending or completing their education, and a large portion of the youth population lacks basic literacy skills, with notable gender disparities. We will discover that he started writing about formal and informal education. Maybe it is the informal education we call domestication. But whatever you call what you are celebrating today, which is a revolution in the domestication of animals, among which man had been established or created or allowed to be the king of the animals. By reading that book, we shall be wiser and we shall know better. For coming to this occasion, like somebody has said earlier today, we are going to be wiser. And for picking a copy of that book and reading it, we are going to know better about education. But until we all are universally educated, the animals shall remain in the man shall remain in the kingdom of the animals. Thank you very much.
How has it developed our own children? Not only to be self-reliant, to be independent, and to be conscious that we are building a nation, that our flag shall continue to be a symbol of justice and of good governance is through education. And what type of education? Proper education that will think of not only of our domestic environment, but the global environment. Nigeria cannot stand as an island. While we are thinking of what we need there, let's also think of how we are going to be relevant globally. And that is what I've tried to talk about in this book. Not just an ordinary education where we count numbers of schools or students who are out of school. Most of them just, they go in and they come out as a waiting. Nothing to write home reports. But the fault is not in them, it's in our curriculum. We jumped at American type of education, yes. We are nostalgic now about the type of the education we had when we were in school. Primary 6, after primary 6, you go to secondary school 5 years, then you go to university. We are nostalgic about the things there. They helped us because the number, top of number, were very small. And before we started UBEC, we had Primary Education Commission. From Primary Education Commission, went straight to primary education.